Happy Easter, everybody. I'm Danny Riggs.
And I'm Jules.
And welcome back to ResTube. Today we have an interview for you here on ResTube, and that interview is with Mr. Aaron Tanner of Melodic Virtue. According to their homepage, Melodic Virtue is a small, artist-friendly, independent publisher dedicated to preserving and promoting the legacies of underground bands through limited-run coffee table books. Originally founded in 2004 as a graphic design studio by Aaron Tanner, Melodic Virtue produces fully authorized books that offer an immersive and definitive visual history of bands outside of mainstream music culture. Each authentic and unusual story is told through compelling design, rare photographs and artwork, and gripping first-hand anecdotes from their fans and contemporaries. For more than 2 decades, Tanner has been creating unconventional design work for legendary acts. Prior to publishing, he was Ween's resident designer for over 15 years and maintained a diverse client roster that included Pixies, Explosions in the Sky, Epitaph Records, Secretly Group, Temporary Residence Limited, and Pet Celebs, Lil Bub and Doug the Pug. A musician and long-life fan of music and the arts, Tanner has won numerous national awards and has been recognized by several prestigious international design publications. And it just so happens that Melodic Virtue is based in the state of Indiana, which happens to be the state that I was born and raised in. And so we're doubly grateful for you taking time out of your day to actually answer our questions. So to get this show on the road, how and when did you first discover the Residents? And which were your first favorite projects?
Yeah, I first learned about the Residents via Primus, the Miscellaneous Debris album. Seems like a lot of people my age, that was kind of their first introduction. And then shortly after that, picked up Our Finest Flowers, which is kind of a weird place to start, but definitely grabbed me and made me want to dive in further. You know, went and got Duck Stab after that, commercial album, Meet the Residents, and yeah, just was completely blown away, instantly hooked.
Being a graphic designer yourself, what inspires you most about the Residents?
I mean, to be perfectly honest, there's a lot of things to be inspired by the Residents about, like not only the incredible music or the theatrical live shows, but the visuals. I mean, a lot of the work that Homer did was extremely ahead of its time, and I just remember being like 16 years old and just studying these albums and the artwork and just imagining how someone could have come up with that, how they did it, especially not having digital tools at the time. Yeah, just completely blown away.
So what was it like going through the cryptic archives?
So the book came about, a friend from NVD had reached out to me and was wanting to collaborate on some kind of a project. And it ended up not happening, or at least not happening yet. And I knew that the Residents had a working relationship with NVD, and so I just asked for an introduction. After I met the group, it was just shortly before COVID and the lockdowns and all that happened. And so things obviously were delayed a bit. But in the meantime, Homer had sent me a hard drive full of images he had already digitized. And I sort of just used that lockdown period to go through and catalog all of that. And then started to make plans to go out to the Cryptic Corporation to see just what was hiding there. Things that hadn't been unearthed in, 20, 30, 40 years. I went out there in March of last year and spent 10 days digging through the Cryptic Corporation's archives, and I mean, you can only imagine what that process was like. I mean, just to see firsthand all of the pieces that went into making all those classic albums, and just the things that were unused, just left over, I mean, was pretty remarkable.
What can you tell us about future Residence books? A ResTube subscriber, Ivan Palmkuk, suggested that there might be a total of 4 Residence books, one for each color iris from the original eyeball masks. Would you care to comment on that?
So as of right now, there's not a whole lot to talk about regarding future editions of the book. I do know that I'm planning 3, maybe 4 editions, but that just depends on the amount of content that I uncover on my next few visits to the archive. Yeah, each book will have the same cover, but it'll be a different color representing the 4 different colors of iris in the eyeballs.
What can you tell us about the cover version of Santa Dog recently released on Melodic Virtue?
The cover of Santa Dog that we did, Rob Crow and I have been friends for a number of years, and I really wanted to get him involved in the book somehow. Rob Crow from the band Pinback. He was going to come out with me to the Cryptic Corporation archives and document that whole process, but unfortunately, due to the pandemic, you know, we ended up scrapping that idea. So I reached out to Rob and I was like, we should cover a Residence song and do it to help promote the book. And Rob was really enthusiastic, said that we should definitely do a version of Santa Dog, and I thought it'd be a great idea to include several different contributors from the book, you know, people that had given us quotes to use. And so that led to me reaching out to Zach Hill from Hella and Death Grips, Ego Plum, Mike Moraski, Steel Pole Bathtub, and Sam Coombs of Quasi, and who's currently been playing with John Spencer and the Hitmakers, as well as myself.
There is an astonishing amount of quotes in A Sight for Sore Eyes, Volume 1. How did you get so many people on board?
So whenever I'm doing one of these books, I always try to think of all the different people that I know that are a fan of the band, and then some I just have to speculate or whatever, and then some are people that have been in almost all the books that I've done. But with each book that I do, I cast a pretty wide net, and then whoever gets back to me ultimately just gets in the book.
So can you get us interviews with Paul Reubens and Weird Al?
I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to give you Paul Reubens or Weird Al's contact info.
An article in Wired magazine criticized the inclusion of Third Reich and Roll artwork. Would you care to address that?
Yeah, I saw the article in Wire magazine, and it's pretty unfortunate. I really wish they would have found a fan of the band to have reviewed the book. I mean, ultimately, what the Residents did with the Third Reich and Roll is satire, and these books are for fans. I can't imagine someone buying one of these books to be their first entry point to the group. These books are a visual history. There's not a lot of written content, and for a band that prides itself on being anonymous, having limited information out there about who they are and the intentions behind what they do, I feel like having to explain something like the Third Reich and Roll would only be a disservice to the group.
Did you get to meet the Residents?
And do you have any anecdotes you'd like to share with us?
I did get to meet the residents, but as most fans know, they are a band of few words.
What can you tell us about Nobody's Nose, the 7-inch included with the book?
I'm in the dark as much as everybody else on that one. Literally everything I know, I put on the back of the sleeve. That's what was told to me verbatim. And as I was combing through the archive, found one of the buy or die catalogs that had a brief mention of it. And so I included that little snippet as well. But yeah, I don't have anything to add.
Do you consider yourself a Residents collector?
I do collect some Residents albums and stuff, but I hate to call myself a collector. I've seen online the sheer volume of stuff that true Residents collectors have, and I have maybe a tenth of that at best. So I guess I'm not a true collector.
You had unprecedented access to the realm of the res. You must be able to tell us, who are the residents?
So all of the residents were present while I was in San Francisco going through the archive. But man, I can't say who they are.
Not only was Aaron Tanner so cool to take time to answer our questions, no, he actually made a care package of sorts when we recently ordered the Santa Dog singles. And so we'll see you back at our place for a little unboxing. And we're back. And so, let's see what's in here. Okay, very securely packed here. Be getting out one thing after the other. So here we have some of the extras from the production of the book, A Sight for Sore Eyes, Volume 1. That is, here are both versions of the Nobody's Nose singles. So one of these will be the black vinyl version, and one is the according picture disc version. We of course have one of each of these in the books that we have, but it's nice especially to have the picture disc because if you remember correctly, we decided not to open that run of the book, and so this is nice to actually be able to look at, just as is the case with this, a still sealed but soon to be opened Duckstab / Buster and Glenn notebook. So thanks a whole lot for this.
Do I get to open it now?
You can open that later.
Okay.
And what we really ordered are these 2 copies of the Santa Dog cover version that Mr. Tanner explained there in the answers. And this is also very, very nice to have. Especially decided on getting 2 copies, that is one to open for sure. So that's very nice. And something that Mrs. Riggsy doesn't even really know about yet, but something that was used to pack all that are 2 different sizes of this shirt that says Melodic Virtue. That is Melodic Virtue. And so this is very nice to have one in my size and one that will at least one day fit Mrs. Riggsy better again.
This is mean.
It's not mean.
Oh, good. I can't wear it right now.
She's not fat, she's pleasantly plump. So for taking the time to answer our questions, for being a very, very cool person just to be in contact with in general, for filming from my home state, for sending us this, and also again for a beautiful release, Mr. Tanner, thanks a whole lot. And thank you also to all of you out there, especially the almost 400 subscribers here on ResTube. You guys make this all worthwhile. And so if you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. And until we see each other again here on ResTube, you guys stay healthy and stay weird. Bye-bye.
Bye. Now I get to unpack that one.
There's an astonishing amount of quotes in A Sight for Sore Eyes, Volume 1. How can you tell us how that came? There is an astonishing amount of quotes in A Sight for what you can. There is an astonishing amount of quotes. Yes, there is.